Israel's political military cabinet gave the go-ahead for the next phase of the operation on the Lebanese front, which involves a limited armed incursion into southern Lebanon. Heads of states and other officials from countries and international organizations are already in Mexico to participate in the inauguration of Claudia Sheinbaum. The Bolivian government decrees a national disaster due to the unprecedented forest fires affecting, above all, Santa Cruz Department. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Israel's political military cabinet gave the go-ahead for the next phase of the operation on the Lebanese front, which involves a limited armed incursion into southern Lebanon. Previously, the Israeli army declared a closed military zone in a part of the territory along the border with Lebanon. Simultaneously, Israel is shelling the border regions of the country with artillery. Since September 23rd, Israel has been carrying out massive aerial bombardments against Lebanon, which in less than a week, according to the UN, have left at least 700 dead, thousands wounded, and more than 1 million displaced. The Lebanese resistance movement Hezbollah attacked Mossad headquarters near Tel Aviv and other points in Israel. Hezbollah announced the attack with 44 missiles on the Kilot base of the Israeli military intelligence unit 8200 and the Mossad headquarters, which is located on the outskirts of Tel Aviv. So far, 50 missiles launches have been carried out from Lebanon, the last of which hit central region and forced thousands of Israelis to take refuge. According to local media, 6 wounded are reported as a result of the Hezbollah attack in response to the aggressions against Lebanon and the genocide in Gaza. And on Monday, a United Nations report said that more than 1 million people have been displaced across Lebanon due to ongoing Israeli bombardment as tensions continue over a full-scale aggression. Filippo Grandi, the High Commissioner of the UN Refugee Agency, stated in his profile on the social media X that around 100,000 refugees have arrived in Syria and that the outflow continues. Grandi also stressed that the agency's teams, together with the Syrian Red Crescent, are deployed at 4 border crossings inside Syria to support the new arrivals. According to the Syrian Red Crescent, more than 60% of the people arriving at Syrian border crossings are children. And at least 13 people were killed in an Israeli bombing raid on the Nuseirat refugee camp in the central Gaza Strip. Medical sources report that 13 civilians, mostly children and women, were killed, dozens injured, and several more are reported missing after occupation warplanes attacked 2 homes in the Nuseirat refugee camp. Ambulances arrived at the scene of the attack and rescuers removed the bodies from the building, some of them badly mangled, wrapping them in blankets. Likewise, survivors had difficulty identifying some bodies severely mangled in the attack. Moreover, bystanders helped transport the dead to ambulances. The remains arrived at the health unit in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. UNICEF spokesperson in the Palestinian territories, Jonathan Cricks, reported that thousands of children in the Gaza Strip are in a dangerous and extremely vulnerable situation due to constant Israeli aggressions. According to Cricks, children are forced to contribute to their family's subsistence. The spokesman said that due to the attacks perpetrated by the Zionist Israeli army, it is estimated approximately 19,000 children have been separated from one or both parents. Lastly, the UNICEF member assured that despite the fact that many children wish to return to school after 1 year, 85% of the school buildings in the region have been destroyed, preventing 625,000 children from attending school.
So when we are in Gaza, you see children everywhere. And actually this is a very high concern because it's a consequence of the fact that they're not attending school and that they have to contribute to the family shore.
Meanwhile, in Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called on September 30th for the United Nations General Assembly to urgently consider using force in Gaza, invoking the 1950 Uniting for Peace resolution.
Today, protecting Palestine and Lebanon means protecting humanity. protecting peace and the culture of coexistence of different.
Let's take now a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Heads of states and other officials from countries and international organizations are already in Mexico to participate in the inauguration of Claudia Sheinbaum, the first woman to assume the presidency of the nation on October 1st. In the morning of Monday, the president of Brazil, Luis Ignacio da Silva, arrived in the North American nation, followed by his Cuban counterpart Miguel Diaz-Canel and the president of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, who arrived in the afternoon. The Honduran Foreign Minister Enrique Reina and the President of the Haitian Presidential Transition Council, Regine Abraham, also landed in Mexico. More than 16 international leaders have confirmed their participation in the historic event that will take place on Tuesday, October 1st. Social movements, indigenous peoples, and representatives of international progressivism will also be present in the swearing-in ceremony. And the President of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, offered on Monday his last message as head of state at the National Palace. The Mexican President thanked the journalists who attended his daily morning conferences while highlighting that President-elect Claudia Sheinbaum will continue with this initiative. López Obrador assured that during his 6-year term, he dedicated himself to serve the people through the implementation of his social programs, where the most needed were taken as a priority. He also emphasized that his government objective did not remain as promises since they became a reality, since poverty and social inequality were reduced. López Obrador's administration will end on October 1st once his successor, Claudia Sheinbaum, received the presidential sash that will allow her to govern until 2030. And on October 1st, Claudia Sheinbaum will become the first woman constitutional president of Mexico. Everything is ready for the ceremony. What will the protocol be like? Our correspondent Daniel Rosa has the information.
With a popularity rating of more than 70%, Claudia Sheinbaum will receive the presidential sash this Tuesday and will be sworn in before the Constitution, officially beginning her 6-year term.
Why didn't a woman become president 20 or 40 or 50 years ago? Because our society had very different characteristics of structure, hierarchy, and patriarchy that have been somewhat diluted but have not disappeared.
It took 200 years of independent Mexico and 65 holders of the executive power to have the first female president, a female, as Sheinbaum emphasizes.
That a woman reaches a government or a position of responsibility does not in itself guarantee a different exercise of power. But I would like to take the phrase, time of women, in its plural sense.
Phrase used by the next president, who will receive from López Obrador the leadership of the country for the next 6 years.
I'm also very happy because I'm going to hand over the presidential sash to an exceptional woman, to a humanist.
The Chamber of Deputies already has security measures in place to receive heads of states and representatives from other countries invited to the ceremony, who have arrived since the weekend to witness the beginning of a new era.
I am ready. I am strong. People are ready to begin the second stage of the fourth transformation of Mexico's public life.
This October 1st, Claudia Sheinbaum will become the 27th woman president in the world, the first in Mexico and North America. In the afternoon, she will meet with the people in the Zócalo, in Mexico City, before giving her first morning conference and going to the southern state of Guerrero to supervise support for those affected by Hurricane John.
Daniel Rosas, teleSUR, Ciudad de México.
In other news, a press conference of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela was held on Monday, led by the first vice president of that party, Diosdado Cabello. The press conference took place in Caracas, where the first vice president of the PSUV, Diosdado Cabello, offered details on the governmental agenda of the National Executive, as well as the great progress of the policies implemented. Moreover, Carlos reiterated the electoral victory of President Nicolas Maduro while assuring that on January 10th, the Venezuelan leader will be sworn in as president of this nation, in line with the Constitution. In this sense, he highlighted the support that the Venezuelan people have shown to President Nicolas Maduro in the face of the struggles against the interference of the U.S. government and the European Union. And the National Federation of Secondary Education Teachers of Uruguay, FENAPES, is carrying out since Monday a 48-hour strike in high schools for labor claims. Schools will be without classes and teachers will mobilize on Tuesday and Wednesday against decisions of the educational authorities that affect education and the working conditions of teachers. The leader of FENAPES, Emilio Mandacen, said that the Union Assembly decided to stop work in view of the opposition of the National Administration of Public Education in the middle of negotiations between the parties. He declared that there is a profound adjustment, a negotiation that was being done in good faith, and now a group of adjustment is emerging. And in France, journalist Julian Assange affirmed before the Council of Europe in Strasbourg that if he is free, it is because he declared himself guilty of having done journalism. In his first statements after spending 12 years in the maximum security prison of Belmarsh in the United Kingdom, Assange pointed out that his agreement with the U.S. justice system prevents him from denouncing the country in relation to his extradition request, as well as requesting information about the events that took place. The WikiLeaks founder's statements came a day before the Assembly of the Council of Europe votes on a resolution that dubs him as a political prisoner and warns about the deterrent effect that his arrest could have had on the journalistic profession.
Ladies and gentlemen, the transition from years of confinement in a maximum security prison to being here before the representatives of 46 nations and 700 million people is a profound and a surreal shift. The experience of isolation for years in a small cell is difficult to convey. It strips away one's sense of self, leaving only the raw essence of existence. I am yet not fully equipped to speak about what I have endured, the relentless struggle to stay alive, both physically and mentally.
In addition, Assange reaffirmed that his freedom does not imply that the system worked, since he had to plead guilty for the fact of doing journalism and denouncing U.S. war crimes.
Justice, for me, is now precluded, as the U.S. government insisted in writing into its plea agreement that I cannot file a case at the European Court of Human Rights or even a Freedom of Information Act request over what it did to me as a result of its extradition request. I want to be totally clear. I am not free today because the system worked. I am free today after years of incarceration because I pled guilty to journalism.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and some more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. On Monday, the Bolivian government decreed a national disaster due to the unprecedented forest fires that are affecting above all Santa Cruz, the richest and most populated department in the country. President Luis Arce signed the regulation because of the magnitude of the impact of the damage caused by the presence of fires in the national territory. The decree will make it possible to channel international aid and transfer economic resources from the central government to the departmental governments. The last official report of the executive branch from early September warned that 3.8 million hectares of forests and pastures have been destroyed in the country.
We have approved this decree number 5235, which is the National Disaster Declaration, so that we can activate everything in our hands to be able to deal with the fires.
The National Water and Sewerage Agency declared on Monday a critical situation due to drought in the Xingu River basin, one of the main tributaries of the Amazon River. The government communicated that the management of the National Water and Sewerage Agency approved the declaration of critical situation of quantitative scarcity of water resources in the Xingu River stretch and its federal tributary, the Iri River. The decision was approved with the intention of increasing water security in the region and mitigating the impacts of low river levels on water use. The agency also reported that the lack of rainfall affected the levels in the Xingu basin, especially in the Alameda section. In the United States, they confirmed death toll in 6 southeastern states in the wake of Hurricane Helene reached 119 on Monday, and the number is expected to continue to increase. According to local news, the toll was expected to rise further Monday as emergency responders continue search and rescue efforts in western North Carolina, where floodwaters wiped out entire neighborhoods and knocked out phone service. In other states, such as Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee, high winds and torrential rains pummeled towns and cities where homes were destroyed, roads flooded, and power cut off to millions. On Tuesday, the Swiss delegation will take over the presidency of the UN Security Council for the second time since its position as a non-permanent member. The European nation will succeed Slovenia at the helm of the agency in parallel with widespread discussions on the need to reform it. In accordance with the demands of the international community, the reconfiguration of the Council should include countries from Africa, Latin America, and Asia-Pacific regions that are underrepresented as a result of the configuration inherited from the 1940s. This year, Algeria, the Republic of Korea, Guyana, Sierra Leone, and Slovenia started a new mandate until 2025, while Ecuador, Japan, Malta, Mozambique, and Switzerland will complete their non-permanent membership in December. And in India, long lines formed on October 1st at voting centers in Srinagar and 5 other districts for the second phase of regional elections, the first in Kashmir for a decade. Voting began at 700 hours local time at election centers spread across 26 constituencies in the region. According to Jammu and Kashmir election authorities, nearly 37% of eligible voters had cast their ballots by 1300 hours local time. Indian Kashmir has been the scene of an armed insurgency and election boycott since 1989. So far, the second phase of the election has been carried out normally without incidents amid strong security measures and in the presence of international observers.
Firstly, we are going to vote for restoration of statehood.
We are voting for the restoration of statehood. This is our first demand. It is our right. Ours was a special state. Laws like Article 370 and 35A that prevented outsiders from buying land have been abolished by the Parliament. We will urge the Parliament to give us back our statehood.
The urgent need is for the statehood to be restored. Only when we will elect our members to the Assembly will they be able to get it back.
And about 123,000 people participated on October 1st in the flag-raising ceremony in Tiananmen Square and commemorated the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. As part of the National Day celebration, Chinese President Xi Jinping earlier highlighted the country's achievements in a speech at the Great Hall of the People, a political administrative center. Xi Jinping emphasized that the country's main goal in the new era is to advance in the construction of a strong nation and national rejuvenation through Chinese-style modernization. Likewise, he insisted on the need to deepen reforms, promote openness, and focus on high-quality development. Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.